Hi everyone, welcome back to another The Scottish Squirrel video. It's a Meals of the Week again video, and today I have made a veggie corned beef hash sort of thing. So instead of the corned beef, I've used tempeh, which is like a fermented tofu, and it comes in a roll, and then I just chopped it up to use to replace the corned beef. And I crisped up some cubes of potatoes first, and I put some garlic powder, some onion powder, some paprika and some tamari, mixed that up and baked the little potatoes until they were crispy. And then in a pan I cooked some chopped onion with some, Worcester sauce, and cooked that with the tamari. No, not the tamari, the tempeh. And then I added the cabbage. There's chopped white cabbage. I added quite a lot of that, but it just kind of disappears into the dish, the cabbage, even though I added quite a lot of it. And then I added a little bit of nutritional yeast and some vegan oxo cube as well to make it a bit meatier, the tempeh. So yeah, and then just combined everything together at the end. And yeah, just to make like a little hash. So it's a bit like a breakfast casserole or a breakfast hash, I guess. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. I've never made this before. This is my first attempt, and I've just sprinkled a little bit of parsley on mine. And the kids aren't too keen on that. They're probably going to have some tomato ketchup with it. So that's what we're going to have for dinner tonight. And it was a bit of an experiment. So hopefully it'll taste good. I'll see you tomorrow. So for Tuesday's dinner, we're having baked sweet potatoes with veggie campfire stew. And these are the sweet potatoes that I've softened up a little in the microwave, and then I rubbed a little of this liquid smoke on and a little bit of southern fried seasoning, just to sprinkle on, and I've just mixed them two together and used my pastry brush, just this thing here, and just covered them all over. And then I'm going to bake them in the oven at about 190 for about 10-20 minutes, and they'll go nice and crispy. So with our sweet potatoes, we're having jackfruit stew, which is a campfire stew, which is a take on a campfire stew. And in here we have jackfruit, mixed peppers that I froze, a tin of baked beans, some tomato puree, and onions and garlic, and there's some paprika. And what else is in here? There's a little bit of garlic powder and onion powder and some veggie stock, and that's all been cooked down on medium setting in my slow cooker. This one, just 3.5 litre slow cooker for the past 5 hours. And then I removed all the bits of jackfruit, although there's still little bits of jackfruit in that. There's grated carrot in here as well, and some celery that I froze as well, that's in here too. And I removed all the chunks of jackfruit. I've used this jackfruit in water, and this other one was just a jackfruit, and I've removed them all, and they come in the cans as these big chunks. They come in the cans like these big chunks, and this has all been cooked. And then it's just like campfire stew usually has pulled pork, which you pull with forks after you've cooked it in the stew, and that's just exactly the same what you do with the jackfruit. You just pull it apart. As you can see, it just shreds apart. It's quite amazing. Just shred it and it goes into little shreds. It's quite cool like that. So it just looks like pulled pork, and yeah, that's all you do. Just pull that out, shred it all into little shreds, and then put everything back into the campfire stew and give it a good mix. And yeah, the jackfruit is just perfect for the pulled pork substitute. And the sauce in here, it's got some maple syrup in it as well, so it's like a sweet barbecue smoky sauce with the jackfruit. And I'll just put the jackfruit back in now. So there we go, I've mixed it all back into the campfire stew, And I'm just going to serve these with, as I said before, the baked sweet potatoes. You could also use this as like a sloppy joe mix or like a loose barbecue jackfruit burger mix. Just put them into some nice rolls and add what you would normally do for a burger. And yeah, I'll be back in a minute. So this is the campfire stew and this baked sweet potato on a plate. And I am quite conscious of the fact that there's no green things on the plate. I don't know how that one escaped my notice, but yeah, I would have served this with some salad leaves, but as we're having a no spend April, there's no salad to go on it. And yeah, oh well, I'm sure there's lots of vegetables, and there's sweet potato and the jackfruit and the peppers and the carrots, which are grated, so we'll survive. But I'm lacking the greens today. I'll do better tomorrow. Okay, so we'll go and have this and I'll see you tomorrow. So it's Wednesday the 21st, and for dinner, just having a very quick, easy to make dinner. We're having some Asda hash browns, some mixed vegetables, and some of the Green Cuisine vegan chicken-free nuggets, which is these ones, and the kids like them. And they're having baked beans with it as well, and they're having more than me because I'm still quite full up from lunch. For lunch I had a hot lunch. It was some leftover campfire stew wrapped up in a tortilla with a little bit of cheese, and I added some black beans and wrapped it up and toasted it. And yeah, I'm kind of full up. So that's why I'm just having a small portion today, and I was doing lots of work this afternoon, so I didn't really have time to sit and cook a dinner. So this is what we've got. So I'll see you tomorrow. So it's Thursday the 22nd, and I do apologise because dinner has been a disaster and I've made a soggy pasta mush. So I was too busy spring cleaning and I forgot about the dinner cooking in the slow cooker, and I forgot about it, and this is what it looks like now. So the pasta is a bit overcooked. Anyway, it was a hamburger helper pasta. So it had some veggie mince in it, and there's like a cheesy sauce, and there's spiral pasta shapes. They were spiral pasta shapes, but they're not anymore. So I do apologise for the look of this, but yeah, that's life, isn't it? Sometimes your dinner is a disaster. Sometimes you forget dinner's cooking and it's a disaster. So at least it tastes okay. So next time I will keep my eye on it and make it better. So I'll see you tomorrow. So for Friday's dinner, we're just having some easy beans and toast, and we have these Heinz baked beans, and on top I just sprinkled some of this nutritional yeast flakes on. So that's what we're having. We had it wasn't a big lunch, but it was a lunch. We had noodles, mixed vegetables and kale, and it was like, and it was just like boiled together in like a curry type liquid, and it was so filling. It was so filling. So I'm not too hungry, and we're kind of run out of time anyway to make something, but just making something just didn't really sound too appealing to me because it's quite warm today, and been running around doing spring cleaning and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a fallback on the easy beans and toast dinner. And this bread is a Scottish, it's called Scottish plain bread or pan bread. It's got like a hard crust, and yeah, it's just, this is the bread from my childhood. Scottish pan bread is just really nice bread when you toast it. Not too nice to make a sandwich from this type of bread, but when you toast it, it's really good. And I just used some of this Vitalite on top, the margarine on top. So yeah, that's what we're going to have for our dinner, and I'll see you later. So it's Saturday the 24th, and for dinner today we're having homemade pizzas, and these are them unbaked. I've made the dough in my Murphy Richards fast bake bread machine, just very simple dough. And see it's starting to rise up, so that's good. And I've just got some grated vegan mozzarella cheese under it, and there's sweet corn, and we've got some chopped frozen pepper. As you can see, they're still frozen. And I've got some, this is my son's one, he's got some of these Naked Glory smoky barbecue tender strips, these meat free ones on, because they had these on our pizzas last week and they really enjoyed them, so just using up the bag, so they've got a bit more than normal. And this is my daughter's one, and this is my one. I've got less strips but more of the frozen mushrooms, and some chopped onion will go on these, but I'm going to put these in the fridge later after they've risen a little. And chopped onion out in the fridge without being covered is kind of stinky. Kind of the smell can permeate into other foods, so I will leave the chopped onion, some fine chopped onion, until just before they go in the oven. I'll just sprinkle that over because I find onion on the pizza just makes it taste really nice. And I might put on some pickled gherkins, some fine chopped of them, because we had them in a Chicago town cheeseburger pizza that was a vegan one, and they had little gherkins, I think they were, little pickles that you would have in a cheeseburger, and that was just so tasty on a pizza. It's very unsurprising because I don't normally eat the pickled gherkins, but they were so tasty on the pizza that I might put some on just before baking. So yeah, that's what we're going to have, and I've made it now before lunchtime so that it's all ready, because we're going to go for a long walk after lunch. And yeah, then I can just put them in the oven when I get back, and then I've saved lots of time and effort, which is good. And I'll just quickly show you, I just made these for lunch today. These are Scottish potato scones, and yeah, just made a big batch of them. You just need some mashed potatoes and some flour, and yeah, you just mash your potatoes as normal, as you would normally make mashed potatoes. Add enough flour, and just add a tablespoon of flour and mix, and then another tablespoon and mix until you get like it's quite a soft dough, but it should go quite stiff and thick dough, so that you can like pat it down and roll it out. So you just need to keep adding the flour, but sometimes it is quite sticky, so you can like pick up bits and then just like make them into little patties with your hands, floured hands, and then pat them down into little circles. So these are quite rustic because they were sticking a little, but I didn't want to keep adding the flour, so I just did it that way with floured hands and made them into little patties. And I didn't cook these with oil. I used this Duronic machine. This is Duronic. It's a pancake maker machine that I got from Amazon, and it's like the best thing ever, because you see you can control the temperature, but I usually put it really up to high, and then you can cook things like pancakes, potato scones, muffins, not like the cake muffins, like English muffins, crepes, anything on this, and you don't need to add oil and nothing sticks, and it is so easy to clean. Just a wet cloth, wipe it, and it all comes off. But as you can see, that's just a bit of flour that's left. I just need to clean that a bit better. But seriously, this machine is worth every penny. I got this at the Black Friday sale, so I got quite a lot off it, which is that was a buy of the year. But anyway, these Scottish potato scones are just amazing and just lovely. Though these ones, I didn't put much salt in them, so they won't taste exactly the same as shop bought, because shop bought will have salt and other stuff added to it. But my kids were brought up with less added salt to their foods, so they'll enjoy these. Probably my son will dip them into ketchup, and I might serve them with some baked beans just for lunch. But if you have one of these in a roll with some ketchup, it's quite a popular cafe food here in Scotland, potato scone roll. But I think we'll just have them with some beans because they're already flour, and I don't have any rolls anyway. Well, I think I do in the freezer, but I don't fancy rolls. It sounds quite heavy. And I've got some of that pan bread in the freezer that I used yesterday for the beans and toast. I froze that months ago. That's what we've been using that up. But I think just have them with some baked beans, and if I wasn't having a no spend April, I would have had them with some mixed salad on the side, but I don't have the mixed salad, so some beans we'll just have to do. And yeah, that's what we're going to have for lunch, and this is what we're going to have for tea, and I'll see you later when I serve it up. So this is our lunch served up. Got the potato scones, and I did actually fancy some sort of bread, but not white bread, so I used these Warburton's soft brown sliced thins to put on. I'll put a bit of ketchup on, and I used a tin of these peas and beans and some frozen peas and just boiled them together for a few minutes to have on the side as a salad replacement because we don't have any salad. So yeah, that's what we're going to have. I'm just going to put some ketchup on. So these are the pizzas cooked, and sadly they did get big air bubbles on them, so I think I'm going to have to change my pizza dough recipe for a different one because that's quite huge bubbles as you can see. And look at this big huge bubble. That's a big giant bubble. So look at that huge bubble. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe it must be my pizza dough, because I did change my pizza dough recipe, and I never used to get such huge bubbles, monster pizzas now. But yeah, and to add to that, I forgot to put the chopped onion on, and I was going to put some gherkins, and I forgot to put that on too. I'll blame the heat. It's very hot today. It's 18 degrees here for a change. So yeah, that's what we're going to have for dinner. We're having our Saturday night monster pizzas. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. So it's Sunday, the 25th of April, and for lunch, it's not dinner, it's lunchtime. We're having some noodles and vegetables in a nice broth. And I've just used these really cheap ramen style chow mein instant noodles from Tesco's. I used about 3 packets of them, and the vegetables, those vegetables are just normal frozen vegetable mix that I've got a lot of that in the freezer to use. So when I'm doing my no spend April, I thought it would be a good idea to use those vegetables up because we don't have salad vegetables. So vegetables are vegetables. And the greens are spring greens that I bought a few weeks back. Well, not a few weeks back, probably a long time back. It was away in March, as you would have seen if you watched my haul videos, and that I chopped up and frozen, and I've put some of those in as well. And for the broth, I've just used some of this bouillon powder and a little bit of this Chinese 5 spice and a packet of this free from hoisin stir fry sauce. And I still got a lot of the stock left, but I will use that for another meal. I won't waste it, I'll keep it. And we had 6 of the little Scottish potato cakes left from yesterday's lunch, so I just heated these up and we're just having them on the side. So this meal is really economical because it uses the frozen veg, and the spring greens were like 25 pence or something, and the chow mein packets are really cheap, about 15p or whatever like that, and then you just put your flavourings in. And yeah, that's a very cheap dinner, and that's what we're having, and I'll see you at tea time. So it's Sunday tea time, and I'm making the dinner, and today we're having this haggis, which says Scotland's most loved vegetarian haggis from McSween's, but it's really vegan, as I'm sure if you can see the ingredients. Let's have a look. I'm going to cook this in the microwave, so it only takes 10 minutes. It might take longer because mine's not a strong one. It's just a blend of pulse seeds and vegetables with oats and spices. And as you can see, there's no meat or eggs or milk or anything in there. So yeah, so that's what we're going to have, this haggis. And I've got some potatoes on the go with some cabbage and leeks. So I'm going to make Irish colcannon, which is a traditional Irish potato mash to have on the side. And there's some turnip that my daughter chopped up for me. Looks nice of her. And we're going to have mashed turnip, and then I'm going to ask my daughter to make some gravy, vegan gravy with this turnip water when it's drained off. So yeah, that's what I'm currently making for dinner. And here's the finished dinner on the plate. I've got a smaller plate because I was quite full from lunch. So I've got the mashed turnip or sweet, depending on where you come from, and the veggie haggis with the gravy made from the turnip water and some gravy, vegan gravy powder, and the colcannon, which is in the colcannon, as I said earlier. It's got the leeks, it's got the white cabbage. You can hardly see the cabbage, but it's in there, leeks and cabbage. And I added a little bit of nutritional yeast, a little bit of Vitalite butter to the mash, some milk and some potato water and salt and pepper, and mashed it up. And there we go. Just got me and my son got a little bit of parsley. And that turnip and the cabbage was in my fridge since March, my shopping haul since then, and they stayed perfectly fine. There was no mould, there was nothing on them, they were perfectly fine. That's why I love my fridge. It keeps things fresh for a long time, which is great. And the haggis was just out the freezer. So yeah, for only having 1 week left in May, no, we're not in May, 1 week left till May, not left in May, 1 week left in April, I think I have done quite well. and because I still got the turnip, the leeks were frozen, the cabbage was in the fridge, and I used the other part of the cabbage for another different meal, and this was like the leftover cabbage, the potatoes in the fridge, and that was in the haggis in the freezer. So yeah, for not buying any fresh ingredients since last March, I think it's actually quite a good meal for our Sunday dinner, and yeah, we're off to enjoy this. So I'll see you the next time. Oh, and yeah, I was going to say goodbye, but if we have a dessert, then I'll be back to show you. So if not, then I'll say goodbye in a minute. So for dessert tonight, I have made a quick chocolate pudding, and I have used this Bird's Eye original custard and some soya milk and just a little bit of sugar. And yeah, you just make it like you make custard. You mix the cocoa powder, some sugar and the custard powder together. You measure it out. If you'd like to know the measurements, then just send a little message, pop a comment below, and I'll give you the correct measurements if you want to have a go at yourself. You just mix that together, and then you add some plant-based milk, and then you mix it to a paste, and then you add more plant-based milk, and then it's all liquidy. It just looks like chocolate milk at the beginning. Then you heat it up, and then once it starts to boil, you just turn the heat down and keep stirring for a minute, and then it gets all nice and thick. As you can see, it's all thickened up, and I've just put it into these jars. I've only got 3 of these size jars because I smashed one a few months ago by accident. It just fell out the cupboard. So I've made a couple of little ones and dripped a bit, but they're waterproof mats, so that's fine. So yeah, I'm just going to, you can have this hot if you like, but it's effectively, it's like chocolate, it's just chocolate custard, really thick chocolate custard. If you wanted it more runny for chocolate custard, you just add more milk or put less custard powder in. So I'm going to chill this later for supper, and we might have some frozen raspberries with it or something like that. So yeah, I'm just going to chill that. That's what we're going to have for our supper. So thank you for watching another Meals of the Week, and if you're subscribed, then thanks very much. If you're not subscribed yet, then please consider subscribing for more Meals of the Week and food hauls and things like that. I'm not doing grocery hauls at the minute until the end of the month because I'm having a no April spend month. But yeah, so I shall see you in my next video.